Hello and welcome. In this lecture, I will be creating a couple of sample tables that I'm going to use to illustrate how the analytic window function works. I haven't got any suitable tables at the moment, so that's why I'm going to create some sample ones. The queries I'm going to use will be available for you to download under the resource page for this lecture. So I've got a couple of queries here that I'm going to use to create a couple of tables. So I'm going to create two tables. One is going to be called product underscore groups and the other is going to be called product. So basically it's going to have group ID as a column. You've got the 0 basically gives it automatic numbering, and that's going to be the primary key. And then we've got a group underscore name with the voucher data type. Not null means that's a constraint. That means that field cannot be empty. So here the same thing, we've got the serial for the data type, which gives it automatic numbering. We have the price in decimal data type. We've got a group underscore ID column. Again, here we've got a foreign key called group ID. Foreign keys basically means it has a corresponding, is related to this table. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'll create the first one. I'll highlight that and click on this lightning bolt, and that should create. Make sure you're creating the table in this DVD rental database. So make sure you're inside your query tool, make sure it's highlighted DVD rental. So it will tell you what database you're creating the table on, because it will highlight the name of the database there. So it tells you query returned successfully. Let's run the other query to create the second table. I'll click on the lightning bolt and you can see it's created two tables. So we now have two tables. So let's come down here to the DVD rental and refresh the list of tables. We should see the two tables we created. Let's check that out. You see product groups and product. Excellent. So the two tables are there. The tables are empty at the moment, so I need to insert some sample data. Again, the sample data will be available for you to download under the resource page for this lecture. All right, let's insert some data into the products under groups table, which is this table here. And these are the values. So I'm just going to highlight that and click on the lightning bolt, and that will tells me it's inserted 3 rows. So let's insert some data into the other table, which is the products table. So these are the columns and these are the values that I'm going to load into that table. So I'm going to highlight it. The reason I'm highlighting it because I've got other queries in the editor, so I don't want them all to be executed, just the one I've highlighted. So I click on the lightning bolt and that will see it's inserted 11 rows or records into the table. Okay, let's quickly query the tables and just to check that they have got some data. So I'm going to query this table here called products. So I'm going to highlight that query and click on the lightning bolt. Excellent. So we've got 11 rows in that table. That is good. Let's try the other query. Select that and click on that. Excellent. We've got 3 rows in that one. So we've got some data in both tables. So I can now begin to illustrate with analytic functions. Before I wrap up this lecture, I just want to do a quick test on using an aggregate function so that you have a clear understanding the key difference between an aggregate function and an analytic function. So before I start illustrating with analytic, let me quickly run through with an aggregate function. So the aggregate function I'm using here is AVG. So I'm selecting the price from this table here, the table called products, which is this table. If I expand the column, there is one for price. So I'm doing an I'm computing the function, running the AVG function on the price column, which is from the products table. So this will return, it will work on all the rows, but it will only return a single value, which is the key difference between, you can see it's returned just a single value. When I start illustrating with analytic function, you will see that analytic functions can perform the same calculation, but will return multiple, you can return multiple results in comparison with the aggregate function that returns just a single output or a single result. So that is it for this lecture. We've got our table set up. We got some sample data in. So we'll start illustrating with some analytic function from the next lecture. Thank you. Bye for now.